Hi, I'm Dwayne Brown. Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, an update on a settlement we told you about for a woman who spent 19 years in prison for killing her pimp. How a local foundation is making hospital visits more comfortable for kids with serious illnesses. And we'll give you a sneak peek of the Daughter of the Regiment as the San Diego Opera prepares to kick off its 48th season.
And I'm Peggy Pico. Tonight in our Friday Roundtable, we'll take a closer look at the 40-year-old law to protect San Diego's ocean views and why some say it's time to abolish it and build taller buildings on our beaches. Then we'll have the details about the Chargers' new coach and the likely impact of a lawsuit against the NFL over head injuries.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Erwin Jacobs and by
Hello, good evening. Thanks for joining us. We have an update tonight on a story KPBS has been following for a year now. Sarah Cruzan was sentenced to life in prison without parole for killing her pimp when she was 16. She now has a shot at freedom. A Riverside County judge today approved a settlement making her eligible for parole. KPBS investigative reporter Amitha Sharma was in the courtroom and joins us from the news center. Amitha, tell us about the settlement between her lawyers and prosecutors in the case.
The settlement reduces Cruzan's first-degree murder conviction to second-degree murder. With that reduction, Cruzan can now go before the parole board, which will decide whether she should go free. Cruzan is 35 now. She has spent the past 19 years in prison. At her 1995 trial, her defense lawyer never called one witness to testify about the documented abuse she suffered at the hands of her mother or the intimate partner battery she encountered with her pimp, who molested her when she was 11 and raped and forced her into prostitution at 13. Her aunt, Ann Rogan, says she still can't believe Sarah could be released from prison.
Well, I'm ecstatic. I'm just so overfilled with joy. And now that she has an opportunity to be paroled, it's just, I never thought this day would come, actually.
Riverside County District Attorney Paul Zellerbach, whose office had previously opposed efforts to correct an initial sentencing error in Cruzan's case, called the settlement fair to the people and to the defense. But he took issue with scores of advocates who have rallied around Cruzan, calling her a sex trafficking victim.
I don't think it's a human trafficking case. Sarah had a difficult childhood and had certain issues when she was being raised, but at the same time, this was a cold-blooded murder.
So what happens next, Amitha?
Cruzan will go before the parole board within 6 months, and that board will decide whether she can be released from prison.
KPBS reporter Amitha Sharma. New unemployment figures are out, and the jobs picture seems to be improving in San Diego County, where the unemployment rate in December fell to 8.1%, with more than 130,000 people in San Diego out of work. The State Employment Development Agency says it is the lowest rate since December 2008. The region gained more than 20,000 jobs last year. Now, statewide, the unemployment rate held steady at 9.8% in December, with nearly 2 million Californians out of work. But the state continues to outpace the nation in job growth, primarily in the areas of technology, tourism, and construction. Medical marijuana dispensaries may have newfound legal protection tonight. The state Supreme Court let stand a ruling involving a San Diego man who claims he was unfairly convicted of marijuana cultivation. Jovan Jackson was not allowed to argue his conduct was legal under state law as a dispensary operator. His attorney calls it a landmark case and says patients have prevailed in their struggle to protect safe access to medical marijuana. Now, if you've ever been a patient at a hospital and had to remove your clothes and put on a medical gown, you know how uncomfortable it can be. It's particularly troublesome for young children. Tonight, we show you what's being done by a local foundation to make hospital visits less stressful for children. Walking with her family through the hallway of Rady Children's Hospital in San Diego,
Hi, John.
you get the sense the girl in the bright red t-shirt has been here before. It's no coincidence. For the past 4 years, the Armenta family have been in and out of hospitals trying to figure out what's ailing their middle child, 10-year-old Stephanie.
She's been through a lot. She's always maintained her strength, always comes in with a smile and a hug. And when she gives you a hug, you know you've had a hug.
Hi, Stephanie.
Doctors have yet to figure out what's wrong with her, but whatever it is, it causes her muscles to get weak like spaghetti. And without chemo treatment, it affects her breathing, throat, vision, and legs. On this particular day, she's getting maintenance to a catheter or tubing that goes directly to her heart. And that bright red T-shirt was custom made with pull-back flaps, so she doesn't have to take off her T-shirt.
With these shirts, it's been wonderful because you can just unsnap and go right where you need to go. And a lot of our kids do have indwelling catheters.
It helps me a lot because instead of putting my shirt up and showing my belly, or all the air comes in my back and I get sick, it'll be easier. I just put it down and then I show my catheter.
Her mom says it's really convenient because Stephanie is here at least twice a week and sometimes up to 10 hours for chemo treatments.
Stephanie, this makes it a lot easier, doesn't it?
A lot.
The Naris Foundation received a grant 18 months ago to produce 400 T-shirts. Their bigger goal is to have these T-shirts in every children's hospital throughout the country. The T-shirts come from the Emilio Naris Foundation. It was established in memory of Richard Naris's son.
He was almost 6, but he was diagnosed shortly after his 3rd birthday. So we were here for almost 3 years. And again, cancer is not something that's over in a month, 6 months. These children go through 2.5, 3 years, sometimes almost 5 years. So you want to do as much as you can for them.
Governor Jerry Brown has weighed in on the awful smell at La Jolla Cove. He sent a letter to city and county officials in late December and said his staff was in touch with the California Coastal Commission. The commission says it will work with the city to resolve the problem in a timely manner. La Jolla Light reports the city's preferred solution is to vacuum the smelly bird droppings. San Diego's 40-year-old height limit on construction along the coast continues to stir passionate debate. In our Friday roundtable, Peggy Pico finds out why some love it and others hate it.
The 1972 voter-approved initiative has, for the most part, successfully preserved San Diego's ocean views. But as the city continues to grow, some argue taller buildings would lead to lower-priced housing and less urban sprawl. Voice of San Diego's Andy Keith joins me with a closer look at the law and if it's likely to change anytime soon. Andy, thanks so much for talking with us today. Remind us again how this height limits restriction actually came about.
Sure. Yeah, so it was in the early 70s. There were a few large projects that really got everyone's attention and realized that there was no restriction. So you've got the Capri by the Sea. It's a condominium complex right in Pacific Beach, right on the water. And there was a few others as well.
Is that the 10-story building?
Yeah, it's over 10 stories tall, and it's really stark now when you look at it because it's about, it's over 3 times taller than anything else in sight. And so then there's in La Jolla there was another building similar, and when they got to see these large buildings and these large projects, people got the idea that there should really be a way to protect the coast and make sure that the ability to get to the coast was there for everyone.
And they kind of wanted to make sure it didn't look like Miami, if I understand.
Yeah, Miami Beach then and today is the #1 example that people hold up and say we don't want to be like that.
Okay, what are the limits specifically?
Sure. So they crafted a citizens initiative, which means that it can't be tweaked or changed or anything. And so what the limits were written into in that initiative was that it would be west of I-5 and it would be 30 feet tall. So it's a blanket 30-foot limit, and it's from west of the 5 to the coast, except for Little Italy and downtown. They had some physical barriers that carved out those areas.
And let's talk about, as far as that, Little Italy and UCSD, the campus, right? Sure. Now, the Embarcadero is up for redevelopment. Because it's downtown, will those exemptions apply?
Yep. So the Embarcadero project would be within the area that there's no height limit. So.
Now, your story, you talked about that a few developers did some creative work to try to tweak this law. What did they do?
Well, so it wasn't that they necessarily tried to tweak the law, but it's just that they have their own reasons and they want to. You have an architectural plan and you have different market-driven effects that you want to get the most profitability out of your project. And so what they basically tried to do was get the city to change the way that they measure the limit. So that's changed over the years, whether you measure from the highest point on the property or the lowest point or median point. So there's some concern among activists and people who support the height limit that's kind of being subverted in different ways.
Let's talk about this argument that abandoning the limit would make housing costs go down, would curb urban sprawl because you're going up instead of out. Any validity to those?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say. There's never been a specific study that just tried to extract what the specific effects of the height limit were. So you can, in a very rough way, say, well, the housing in that area is most expensive, therefore, if you increase the supply, you would push down prices, just a basic market argument. Other people say, well, there's no telling that because they tore down a one-story house and build towers that they're going to make it cheap housing. They might make it luxury housing, and the per unit price will stay roughly the same. But the important nuance there is that you're housing more people. So you're necessarily giving more people an area to live in this desirable area. So if it doesn't have a deflationary effect on prices on that property or in that block or even in that neighborhood, in the aggregate over the entire housing market, by housing more people in one area, you're necessarily reducing prices somewhere.
All right, let's talk about changing the law. Any chance of doing that anytime soon?
I mean, there isn't much in the way of polling on it, but the limit passed overwhelmingly in 1972. It was given the stamp of approval by the Supreme Court in 1976. And if my email box over the last few weeks is any indication, it is widely popular still today. So I think that any sort of attack on the height limit or any attempt to subvert it or change it in any really way would be very unsuccessful.
And it would have to go to the voters.
It would have to, everything would have to go to the voters, even a small change. Even if you wanted to say, let's make it 40 feet instead of 30 feet, the voters would have to approve that. Or if you change the line from I-5 to something else, like say 1 mile out from the coast instead of a blanket from I-5. Any change like that would have to go to the voters.
As you mentioned, you got a lot of comments on this story. Why do you think land use is just so passionate here in San Diego?
Well, I mean, I don't think people necessarily even know what land use is. It's, that's like a wonky insider term. But but I think people know that they like the way the beaches feel in San Diego. So they go to the beach and they drive over the hill in Mount Soledad or something like that, and they look down and they can see the beach, they can see the coast, they can see this really nice area sprawling in front of them, and they like it. So any discussion around it, anything that seems to threaten the restriction is met with heavy resistance.
All right, we are out of time. Andy Keats, thanks so much for the update.
Thank you.
San Diego Opera kicks off its 48th season next weekend with the Daughter of the Regiment. KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando was at a recent rehearsal to get the lowdown on singing the high C's in the opera's famous aria.
Putting on an opera is tough work. But in San Diego, the task is made even more challenging by an intense schedule that requires performers, crew members, sets, costumes, props, and wigs to all be ready in a few weeks, says Nicholas Ravelis, San Diego Opera's Geisel Director of Education.
It's a very, very condensed and intense process. We don't have the luxury in the United States to be able to have lengthy rehearsal periods. So, we have to get everything done in a much more concentrated amount of time.
I got off a plane yesterday, so I'm exhausted.
But Stephen Costello, like the rest of the singers, gets down to work almost immediately.
It's a working rehearsal, but it's also the first time that everybody is working together. And these singers, they come from all over the world. So we've got people here from Poland, from Slovakia, from the East Coast, from right here in San Diego.
The San Diego Opera has not mounted a production of Donizetti's The Daughter of the Regiment since 1990. The opera tells the story of Marie, a young girl raised by a regiment of soldiers that found her as an infant. Although originally set during the Napoleonic Wars, it's often updated to other time periods. The San Diego Opera's production is set during the waning days of World War II.
La fille du régiment, the daughter of the regiment, was written for the Opéra Comique in Paris, 1840, which is the Opéra Comique was a very specialized theater, lighter fare. It wasn't the kind of serious or tragic opera that you would see at the Paris Opera, at the big opera company. In terms of this opera, I think people would be surprised that there's spoken dialogue.
It's kind of a first for me. I'm trying to get a hold of where I have to be funny and where it has to be serious, and it's also my first time doing dialogue as well, so that frightens the hell out of me.
Costello plays Tonio, a young man who falls in love with Marie. He also has a central role in one of the opera's comic high points.
One of the most important comic elements is Tonio's aria, the famous aria that has the 9 high Cs.
It's a tour de force for the tenor.
Eva Bell is the conductor.
Everybody's going to the opera to hear it, and everybody's hoping the guy makes it through it. And the tenor is secretly hoping to death that he's not going to be encored, so he has to sing it again.
The challenge is that a tenor named Luciano Pavarotti, who everybody knows, has ruined the opera world for tenors. Because, I mean, he sings the Daughter of Regiment aria. It's extremely hard, very easily, and he makes it very famous.
They're quite unique, these high Cs, because they usually, in Donizetti, you approach the high C from below and you kind of comfortably sail up to the note. In this case, he has him taking the bottom C and then singing the high C 9 times.
Well, the reason he sings 9 high Cs is that he's just been given permission to marry Marie by the entire regiment of soldiers who are her father. So, his reaction immediately is to start singing really extreme notes, to express his happiness. And I think there's just a little bit of an off-color joke going on there with Donizetti, those high Cs that are constantly reaching. I like to call it, with my audiences, and if you'll forgive me, music on a little blue pill.
For Abel, he's just trying to help his tenor sail the high seas with ease.
I'm listening to the comfort level of the singer, and I'm listening to how he feels while he's singing that, and if he feels a certain amount of strain, how can I help him out? Can I make the tempo a little bit faster for him? Can I make it slower so that he has more time to get it, into his body and through his technical mechanism?
Costello's like an athlete who's been in training and can't wait for the starting gun to go off.
It's exactly like an athlete. It's like when you exercise. You have to keep it up. You have to keep your stamina up, and you have to keep your air flowing. And it's the same thing as like an athlete, Kobe Bryant or something. If he's going up for a 3-point shot, he's got to make it every time when it matters. And it's the same thing with the aria. You have to hit those high Cs every single time, and you have to be sure that when you let them go, they're there.
But on the first day of rehearsal, Costello says the high Cs are just out of reach.
I've been flying, and the problem is when you fly, your voice dries out. And so I can't, it's just making my voice very heavy today.
So the only way to hear Costello's vocal acrobatics is to go see The Daughter of the Regiment when it opens next weekend. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
In part 2 of our weekly roundtable, Peggy Pico takes a closer look at the Chargers' management changes and the lawsuit against the NFL over head injuries.
Sports reporter Bernie Wilson joins me with an update on the NFL lawsuit and top brass changes for the Chargers. Bernie, thanks so much for being here. Now, the Chargers, as everybody knows by now, fired coach Norv Turner at the end of the season. And then they hired Mike McCoy from their rival team, the Denver Broncos. What can you tell us about this McCoy?
Well, if you can't beat him, hire him. The Chargers had a couple stinkers against Denver this year, including that legendary collapse from 24-0 ahead. But he is, I hate to say real McCoy because that's trite, but he comes very highly regarded, not only in league circles, but, players. He's a former quarterback, played at Long Beach State, and then when they dropped the program, transferred to Utah, played in NFL Europe, bounced around a few NFL training camps. So he's been there. He worked his way up like they all do, and he's known for fitting his schemes to the personnel at hand. So he last year he was able to go from Kyle Orton to Tim Tebow. They won a playoff game, which is one more than the Chargers have won in 4 years. And then this year he is able to go from Tebow to Peyton Manning.
Is that what you think the Chargers owner thought was the reason they hired him?
Pretty much that, and the fact Dean Spanos keeps using the phrase culture change. They needed a culture change, not only at head coach, but at general manager and basic business philosophy. They have to win back the fan base. They lost a significant portion, as you saw by all the blackouts, the thousands of empty seats. Spanos knew he had to do something, and you know, it seems to have re-energized the franchise.
Well, part of the culture change, it seems to me, and I'm no expert on it, that McCoy is rather young to be a head coach of an NFL team. Is that correct?
He's 40 years old, as is the new general manager, Tom Telesco. It's not the youngest but in the NFL, but it certainly brings them closer to the player's age. Not that that's a huge thing, but, you know, and as opposed to 60 and 63, which, you know, Norv Turner, A.J. Smith were up there. But, you know, it is a good change, a change in the right direction. Now Tom Telesco has to go rebuild this roster, and Mike McCoy has to go prove that he can be a head coach. He's never been an NFL head coach.
Give us a quick bio on Telesco.
Telesco worked his way up, and he is very proud of that, and as well he should be. He started out as like a summer intern with the Buffalo Bills, began his NFL career as an area scout, and he worked for a couple of different organizations, then was hired by the Indianapolis Colts. Basically, you know, the proverbial mailroom on up. He progressed up the career until he was number 2 in command.
And paid his dues. Let's talk about the announcement about Junior Seau's brain disorder and it being linked to the, you know, repeated head trauma. Right. It kind of brought attention to a lawsuit against the NFL by some ex-NFL football players over safety concerns. What's the NFL's response been to this lawsuit?
To throw a lot of money into research. Now, you know, the lawsuit obviously is going to have to take its course through the courts, and who knows what's going to happen there. But there are a lot of former players who've sued the league, so they probably will eventually have strength in numbers. But remember, the NFL is a $9 to $10 billion a year business, and they've thrown a lot of money into research. But, you know, you can throw all the money you want. It's not going to bring Junior back. It's not going to bring some other people back who committed suicide. And, you know, there's guys in their 50s and 60s who probably have suffered the same kind of brain damage.
Do you think the NFL will come under more scrutiny? A lot of people don't know it's a tax-exempt nonprofit organization, as with a couple of other organizations, sports organizations. Do you think their nonprofit status might come under scrutiny now in light of the $30 million they're giving away, or they're doling out for research? Is it something you think that'll be impacted whatsoever?
Probably not. I mean, they have very powerful lobbyists, very powerful attorneys, and fans just want to see football on Sunday afternoons and Monday nights. So I sort of doubt it.
Do you think any of this will affect the game, even let's say here in San Diego, how the game is played?
You know, that's a great question, because they do need to figure out how to make it safer, whether it's different helmets. There are some different materials being tested, different size. Some of the guys don't like the way it looks, but, you know, if it saves, you know, a concussion or two, a lot of these guys might have had more than one concussion per game. You know, there's talk about eliminating the kickoff. That probably will not fly, because that's probably the most exciting play in a football game, and it happens more than once. So,
exactly.
You know, fans, they're going to want to see that. But they do need to come up with safer helmets, and you know, maybe guys need to get back to learning how to tackle the right way instead of just launching themselves. And yeah, you know, it's good now that they do have severe penalties and fines for hitting with the helmet.
All right. We are out of time. So, Bernie Wilson, thanks so much for talking with us.
Anytime.
I'm Ray Suarez. On the next News Hour, a preview of the inaugural festivities, plus Shields and Brooks. That's Friday on the PBS News Hour.
A mix of sun and clouds, but mostly warm for San Diego this weekend. Clouds along the coast with temperatures near 70. The same for the inland valleys with highs in the upper 70s. Sunny but cool in the mountains, mostly in the 50s through the weekend. And partly cloudy in the desert with highs in the mid-70s.
In tonight's Public Square, we've pulled a few of your comments from a rich discussion on our website about Del Mar City Council's unanimous resolution to ban a popular gun show at the city's fairground. A group called Stop the Del Mar Gun Shows gathered more than 1,000 signatures to petition the council to stop the 22-year-old gun show called Crossroads of the West. Mission Accomplished argues against the ban with the simple statement, criminals don't follow gun laws. ILK took a different approach, saying we'll never stop people from murdering each other, yet murder is still illegal in most countries. No one seems to have a problem with that. Outside to View has this to say, logic dictates that if all things remain equal, results are predictably going to be the same. So not changing current practice predictably means that the massacres of the past will continue to occur in the future. You can join this conversation or comment on any KPBS story by following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, or email us at publicsquare@kpbs.org.
The 32nd Annual Martin Luther King Jr. Parade will be held in San Diego on Sunday. The parade begins at 2 o'clock on Harbor Drive. This parade is put on by the San Diego chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha, the oldest black fraternity in America. And San Diego Mayor Bob Filner vetoed the City Council's 2 appointments to the Port Commission tonight. In a statement, he said he made the veto because one of the seats on City Council is vacant and the selection process was flawed. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. You have a great weekend.